Hello, and welcome to another WIP Wednesday. Come on in, get your beverage, get your project, and say hello in the comment section and let me know where you're watching from and what it is that we do together. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for choosing to come back and hang out and spend a little bit of your day with me. And if you're new to my channel, hi, my name's May. I love yarn. I love to knit and crochet. Those are my hobbies. And I also happen to have been born visually impaired, legally blind, and completely colorblind. So I really mostly knit and crochet by feel. Yeah, the lights are on for you. Wasn't that nice of me to turn them on? Yeah, I did do one video where it got dark and I didn't realize it. And most of the video was in the dark. Don't have any idea how many people stayed to listen to me knit in the dark. So I definitely, as we're in like the middle of September now. Can you all believe that? Yeah. So sunset's happening earlier and earlier where I live anyways. I live in Washington State in the United States. And so sunset's happening earlier and it leaves me like less time, right, to record sometimes. And then I don't realize it and lose track of time and I'm like, oh, it's dark. And if I still want to make a video, I gotta turn on some lights so you guys can see. So it is the middle of September. It's still summer where I live. I am loving this weather. How about you, where you're at? What's your weather like, right? I am knitting with you today, and it is like perfect kind of weather, by the way. My knitting, if you are visually impaired like myself, we got some yarn, and it's in the color of Tranquil, which is I think it's described as like a turquoise or like a blue green. I think maybe it's supposed to be like the color of like turquoise water, like ocean, so I don't know. It's supposed to be a really nice, beautiful color, and it is in the Knit Picks We Crochet Brava Bulky, so a really nice thick yarn. And I'm just knitting with it today. It might be like a blanket. It's kind of, I don't know. I'm still struggling for a couple of reasons. I'm working on it. And one is because, well, I mean, it's definitely nicer weather, right? It's nicer weather out for sure. It's the kind of weather that I love. To me, this is the perfect summer weather, right? Like mid to low 80s, 70s. Perfect. So, but it's still kind of warm for me to be working on, like big projects. So, it's in the evening now. It's after dark. It's later, so it's like 8, probably like 8:30 at night. So I feel like, I can have, and the blanket's small, right? I just did 4 rows and I'm just on the 5th row. So it's not like it's a big blanket. So I'm like, well, maybe if I just work on it slowly and, over a matter of months or something, by the time I get to where it's bigger, where it's on my person, then, maybe it'll be cooled down in like a month. So I'm like, maybe I can start it while it's small and then not have, and then work on it slowly or something. So, so we'll see. It might not even get finished. That's the reality. So, let me know what it's like where you're at. I'm starting to, I complain a lot about the heat, right? You've heard me complain for months. I'm like, oh, it's so hot. It's so hot. And it is. Like, I love spring. I talk about that's my favorite season. I love the weather in May and in June. And then, like, July and August, I'm like, even though I love summer, I'm like, oh, it's so hot. So, even though this isn't my favorite time of year, I know some of you love fall. And that's good, but I'm colorblind, so I can't really see all the changing leaves. Everybody just raves about the changing colors of the leaves, and I'm sure that they're beautiful. I have no doubt it's beautiful, but it's just, it's harder for me to appreciate. And Then I know it's like all the plants, like I used to have gardens and flower beds and all that kind of stuff. And it was like the garden season was winding down, right? And so, it's like, okay, the plants are dying. So it's always kind of like a depressing time for me going into fall. So it's not my favorite season, but I'm doing what I can to enjoy. We probably got like another 2, 3, 4 weeks of weather where I can still, wear my shorts and my summer clothes. But, pretty soon enough here, you'll see me sitting up here all bundled up in my blankets. Then I will be wanting to work on blankets. Then we'll probably be working on lots of blankets, huge blankets, because I'll be wanting them piled on top of me, right? Within just a couple of months, you'll see me like, let's make blankets, big blankets, so I can wear my projects. So we'll have to see what we'll be working on. But for now, I thought I'd pick this up. I have so many projects going on right now. And, I say, I was working on a project over Labor Day on my Labor Day video. And I said, it might be a skirt. And I was working on it. And I talked about how I used to be really hesitant to work on projects if I really didn't feel definite and secure, like, yes, this is what it's going to be, and I have a plan, and it's going to work out. Otherwise, I didn't feel comfortable working with them on camera. And then I'm like, let's be real, right? As somebody who often makes my own designs, things don't work out. You try things over and over and over. And, lots of prototypes, lots of fails, lots of frogging, lots of rip it. So guess what? That skirt that I was working on Labor Day, yeah, it got frogged. It rip it. And like I almost recorded it just to make like a video of conversation about because like I did choose the yarn at 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, let's be real, I did, and maybe I wasn't thinking my best right at the time. The math, I wasn't understanding the math that I wanted for that pattern repeat. And math wasn't mathing at 3 a.m. For what I thought it was gonna be. And so then I was like trying it on, and I'm like, oh, if I do, this pattern repeat, I'm going to have to do this many more and increases and this. And so it just wasn't the right yarn for what, for what I wanted, for what I was picturing. So not that I don't love that yarn, that I was working with the Knit Picks We Crochet Shine Sport. And I love Shine Sport, right? If you're a returning viewer, I love Shine Sport. We worked on some tank tops, that I made with it, right? This summer, I've got 2 different tank tops that I worked on in design this summer. I've made fingerless gloves with it. It's just a beautiful yarn. And so I love the feel of it, and I'm always excited to work with it. So, I'm sad to frog it as in the beautiful color Current, but I was like, no, I can't, right? It's not, the math wasn't mathing for me. So I ripped that out. So that did, and I really probably should have made a video, but I was also kind of frustrated with myself. And, words, right? Words. All the words were coming out of my mouth when I do some frogging. Sometimes I get frustrated with myself, and I'm like, ooh, and then all kinds of language comes out, right? And I'm like, oh, so... try not to put too much of that on YouTube, but what? Yeah. All the words come out sometimes from me. I'm a human being, and I get frustrated, right? And so I just was like, be real with people about the process, right? Of designing. So I don't know how real we're going to get here, if you're ever going to see me having my little frogging party and, hearing all that comes out of my mouth. But yeah, that was like a day of frogging. Like I was working on some socks that I was designing, and I made a silly error that I knew better than to do, but I did it. Yeah. So then I had to frog that the same day. It was like a bad day for me. It was. So anyway, so now I'm working on this blanket that might also get frogged, okay? Like, I'm struggling with whether or not to make this blanket. And I've made it before. I've made it. And I don't even have a version to show you guys, because every one that I've donated. Every single version of this blanket that I've made, I've donated. Yeah. So I gave it away for like baby blankets, right? It's like baby blankets that I've made and they've given, and I've never made them with bulky weight yarn before either. I've always made it in smaller yarns because it's baby blanket size. It's 152 stitches across, and I'm like, ooh, that's at a bulky weight. That's gonna be big. That's gonna be really, really big for a baby blanket. So, and it's heavy, and the bulky weight yarn. So I'm not actually positive that I'm gonna make it. I have a whole thing of the Tranquil in the bulky. So I was like, well, that'd be a cool use for it, right? But I might also have Tranquil in worsted too. And I'm almost like scratching my head and going like, maybe I should have dug around, right? Because I got a lot of Brava in this house, right? I wait till Brava goes on sale. Like, and if you're a returning viewer, you know how much I love the Knit Picks and We Crochet sales. Like, I hit them hard. The summer yarn sale, I hit that. The Labor Day sale, I get that. And if for some reason you missed out on those sales, they usually only do like big site-wide sales like that, like a few times a year. But they also usually have like a Halloween sale at some point. And I'm just saying the Halloween sale is usually select colors, okay? So it's like your blacks and your oranges, your grays, those kinds of colors. So it's not going to be all the colors, right? It's not going to be all the colors. But if you are somebody that, likes those colors, likes to work with, I don't really buy a lot of oranges except for Halloween projects, right? Because I can't really wear orange. So, but, if you like to work with black, I know a lot of people don't like to work with black because they're like, can't see it, right? Can't see it. So a lot of people may, opt out on that sale. But if you like to buy black yarn, the Halloween sale is a great chance to get, like some of every yarn in black. So who knows? Maybe I don't know if I'm going to have it in my budget though to shop. Again, because I did shop so much at the Labor Day sale. I did went way over budget, shopped way too much on Labor Day sales. So pretty soon you're gonna see some more. Like, we just got done looking at my orders for the summer yarn sale, right? And then we're going to start looking at the Labor Day orders are going to start coming in pretty soon. Yeah, we got some Labor Day sale orders coming in because I shopped a lot. And you know what I think is cool about the Knit Picks and We Crochet sales? Now, obviously, this is smart on their part, right? But a lot of companies will give you like a discount code, right? They're like, this is the sale code. And then you can use it once. It's like a one-time deal, like the sale's going on for 3 or 4 or 5 days or a week. And they're like, you can use it once, right? Not at Knit Picks and We Crochet. They're like, you can shop as much as you want during the sale. I don't know if you know that, but like maybe you're like me and you buy some yarn and then you're like cruising the YouTube and you see a pattern that you want to make and you're like, oh, I need to get the yarn for that, right? And the sale's still going on. So then you're like, can I still buy the yarn on sale? You can. Knit Picks let you use those sale codes over and over again during the. I'm just saying, I might know that from personal experience. Okay, I might like place one order, and then like I might have gone back the last day of the sale. Yeah. Might have been like, ooh, I need some of that. Ooh, I need some of that. Right? So, yeah, that might have happened. And yes, you absolutely can use that sale code over and over. Just saying, if you didn't know that. So I love that though, because I have had companies where like I try to make another purchase because I like forgot something, right? I'm like, oh shoot, I wanted it in this color or I wanted that. And they're like, nope, sale code's not valid for you. And you're like, really? Just because I forgot? I have to pay full price now? So I'm like, that's lame. And Knit Picks and We Crochet are like, now we'll just take your money, right? They're like, if you want to give us money, in exchange for yarn, we'll take it, right? I mean, that's smart business. In my opinion, that's just good business on their part, right? So, yeah, so there's definitely going to be some sale orders coming up. Um, but okay, so back to my blanket that I'm working on. One, I've never made this in a bulky weight yarn before, so it's going to be big and it's going to be heavy. Um, but here's the other thing about this blanket. I bought the pattern years and years and years ago when I first started knitting, probably well over 10 years ago. And I was wanting to find it back so that, I could, like, usually when I do patterns on here, like, I work on something and then I'll do like a finish it Friday and I'll give you my thoughts on the on the pattern, give you my experience. And when I do those reviews and those patterns, it's not like to hate on designers at all, right? I know my patterns aren't perfect at all. I'm just like saying, hey, this is where I had difficulties. This was the modifications that I made. This might help you out, right? This was confusing to me. But it's not like to, we're not dissing on designers. We know that they're just, they're doing their best, right? They're creating. We're all on our own, doing our own thing. That's part of creativity, right? So with this particular pattern, I looked and I looked and I looked, and it's not available for sale anymore. It's like a discontinued pattern, which seems really silly in today's era of digital patterns, right? Like digital patterns. It's like you could just email that pattern out when somebody wants to purchase the pattern. It doesn't even cost companies, like, they need to pay the designer, right? I'm all about paying designers. I mean, I love free patterns, right? I got some free videos on I got a tutorial on my channel. Excuse me, sorry, my eye's itching. I got a tutorial on my channel for my blanket. I got a tutorial for a knit blanket. Got a tutorial on my channel for a crochet soap sack. I walk you through my socks from Sock Week, right? So I'm all about free patterns, but I'm also about paying for a good pattern. If I see a cool pattern that looks well done with lots of math and lots of sizes and lots of work, I don't mind paying for that. I don't mind paying designers, and I don't mind paying people like what they're worth, right? People literally, as somebody who's sat here and frogged and ripped out over and over and over and like literally cried over like a pile of frog spaghetti yarn that might never untangle again. Yeah, I've shed those tears. I have. So I know that, designing is hard, right? Lots of tears, lots of yarn that sometimes isn't salvageable depending on the yarn that you're using. So I'm all about paying designers. Like, realistically, it's hard to make a living as a pattern designer. I don't know, man. It's a lot of hours of work. And so I'm all about paying designers. Right. So I'm not saying that like digital patterns should be, super, super cheap or anything. I'm not saying that. I'm not like, oh, we should be able to get a digital pattern for, 99 cents or something because it doesn't cost them anything to print it. No, I know that. Like, but they need to pay the designer, and the designer's got to pay their tech editors, and they might need to pay pattern testers. They might supply their pattern testers with yarn. I mean, there's just so much. How many times did they make that? How many prototypes did they make? How many different sizes did they personally make, even though they don't even wear those sizes? So, I get it that, we should be paying designers what they're worth. So I'm not saying, that companies shouldn't, be paying for patterns. But, what I'm saying is this is in today's era of digital patterns, like, why can't a pattern just be available for people to purchase, right? So, and I do know the company, like, I know that we've lost, like, literally thousands and thousands of patterns off the internet because yarn companies go out of business. I've talked about that before in other videos. Like I loved Elan, Elan, or maybe NN, I don't know. And they used to have a bunch of free patterns on the internet. And when they went out of company, or that company went out of business, I was like sad, right? Because I'm like, what happened to all the free patterns? And obviously, what happened to somebody's hopes and dreams of owning a company too, right? Crystal Palace Yarns was another really great company that had a bunch of free patterns. They have beautiful yarns too. Crystal Palace Yarns has some cool yarns that are just gone, right? That stuff is just gone. That yarn is gone. That patterns are gone. And so if designers sell their digital rights to companies, then I don't think anybody maintains them. So anyways, so that's like long convo to where I'm going. So, but I know where I purchased this pattern from. I purchased it from Annie's Attic. That's where I purchased this pattern from. I know that. Like, I still remember that's where I bought this pattern from. So I just went, and I actually don't even have, can you believe I unsubscribed from all my Annie's Attic email? Like, they were like really sending out a lot of emails. At that time in my life, I didn't have money to buy yarn and to buy patterns. And so, at that time, I couldn't afford to buy. I just didn't have money. I couldn't afford to buy yarn. I couldn't afford to buy patterns. I was broke. Like, you know, every penny that I had access to was going to food and, you know, my cell phone and just the basics in life. And so I was really trying to, like, you know, Annie's Attic was sending out a lot of emails. And so I was really trying to, like, you know, downsize my emails, especially from companies that I wanted to buy from, because it was just like, oh, I don't want to look at all the stuff that I want to buy that I can't afford. And so I really unsubscribed to some emails. And so Annie's Attic was one of those companies that I actually completely unsubscribe. And they were one of the few companies that actually unsubscribed me. Today, I try to unsubscribe from emails and I'm like, what in the world? Somehow they just keep showing up under like a slightly different name. I'm like, really? Don't play with me that way, right? They just keep like bombarding you with spam, right? So, but Annie's Attic was actually one of those companies that when I said, no, I want to unsubscribe, they completely stopped emailing me. So that's cool. But now I've got, you know, I don't have excessive amounts of money, but I get, you know, I got a little bit of money, obviously, right? Because you say yarn unboxings in this video. So I'm like, you know, maybe I want to resubscribe to Annie's Attic now. And, you know, get those emails again. So, but I haven't done that yet. I haven't signed up, but I did go to their website, right? I can still look at their website. So I did look and I looked, and they don't have this pattern available anymore. Like, not even as a digital download anymore. So I'm like, well, that's kind of sad. So I still own the pattern. Still my pattern because I paid for it. It's not my pattern. I didn't design it, but I paid for it. So I can make it again and again. But I'm kind of hesitant to make a project on here because I can't give you the pattern, right? I can't just be like, here it is, and I can't tell it to you because it's not mine. But at the same time, I can't like really review it with you all either because you can't purchase it anywhere. They aren't selling it anymore. It's like discontinued. And so I'm struggling with whether or not I should even work this blanket. Like, let me know your thoughts, okay? As a viewer, as somebody who views a YouTube channel, who watches like crafting channels and yarn channels and all of that, like, would you want to see, or would you not even want to see, like, a blanket that you might think like, that's cool, right? That you probably will never be able to get your hands on the pattern for. Like, is that just like sad? You'd just be like, no, I don't want to even see that. If I can never make that because, you know, the pattern's discontinued and it's not available anymore, would you rather just like be like, nope, I don't even want to see it. I don't want to know. I don't want to see all that. And then be like, you know, I can never make that. Now, I've looked on Ravelry and there's similar designs, right? There's similar designs. And I actually think like I don't have really much sight anymore. And so for me, I really do have to like, you know, reconstruct things in my head and like stitch them out in my head anyways. And so I don't really use patterns. I'm not as pattern dependent as I used to be because of deteriorating sight, right? And so I really, even for this particular pattern, I have to more picture it in my head and be like, okay, how do I want to make that shape, right? How do I want to make that shape? And I have to kind of figure that out anyway. So I'm sure if I showed it to people, if you had the experience as a knitter, you could probably figure it out anyways. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts and comments on whether you'd want to see something worked up. And do you think this is like way too long for? I mean, this is like the size of this full size bed almost. Okay, so I've never worked this pattern up in a bulky weight yarn. So if I do, it's gonna be like the size of a full size bed. It's gonna be well past baby blanket sized. So I'm like full of reservations. I don't even know if I can work the pattern, because of less eyesight anymore and kind of having to figure it out. So anyways, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Maybe this might also go in the frog pile as well, right? Then we might have to we could frog it and do something else with our tranquil yarn. Or I could restart it if I think I can make it. I could restart it and work it up in the worsted way. And then it wouldn't be, like 5 feet or something, 4 feet wide, but it still would make a nice child's blanket, or it'd still make a nice blanket for me. I love to have big piles of blankets on me in the wintertime. It's cold. It gets cold here in the wintertime. So anyways, let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comment section. I really hope you're well. I hope you're able to enjoy, if you're up here in the northern hemisphere, I hope you're able to enjoy, a few more weeks of summer weather. Alrighty, well, you know what I like to end with, right? Creativity is for everybody, whether you see or you see like me, which is not in color, or you don't see at all. Creativity is for you. And whether it's knitting or crocheting or sewing or quilting or beading or sculpting or painting or weaving or carving or whatever it is that you do today, it's a great day to craft and create. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, happy stitching. Bye-bye for now.